Welcome to the Find My Catalyst podcast. We all have problems we're looking to solve, but we struggle with this. Well, why do we struggle with this? Well, one of the challenges is we lack process. One of the challenges is we lack a tool. One of the challenges we lack skills. My hope is that this podcast helps you find that nudge, that catalyst to help solving the tough challenges that you're going through, working through and getting the work done that you want to get done. That was a rough opening. And the reason it was a rough opening is because it has been a long time since I've done that as far as an intro. And we're wrapping up 2024. I am recording this on December 31st, 2024. And I've got a lot to celebrate this year. And I want to take some time to reflect on some things that worked, some things that didn't work, and some things that we're stuck on, which kind of gets into a start, stop, continue type exercise, which is a lot of the stuff that I'll do with clients as we work through things, whether it's on a one-on-one basis or a team basis or inside an organization as a fractional leader. I get through this whole start, stop, continue, making decisions, getting things on block, helping people move forward. One of the things that I'm really excited about when looking back on 2024 is the success that we've had with the Leader Lab. Now, at the end of 2023, Jen and I took ownership of the Leader Lab. Actually, back then it was called the Phoenix Club. And before that, it was called the Perch. It was Dan Cockrell's original group that he put together during COVID, a group of people, professionals who wanted to get better at the things that they were working on, connect with each other, build relationships. And Jody took it over a couple of years ago. Jen and I took over the leadership helm of that group at the end of 2023. And in 2024, we learned a lot. Number one, we lost some members. We had a couple of members that we asked to leave the Leader Lab because of a lack of alignment. And that led to other people leaving the group. And from a lesson learned perspective, could I have done things differently in the way that we communicated that and the way we handled it? Sure. Everybody can do things a little bit differently. Am I happy with the way that we handled it? I am very happy with the way that we handled it because we had to make a very tough decision. And sometimes you have to sometimes you have to fire clients. So firing a client can be a success. And when you fire a client, what happens is you create space for the growth that you're looking for inside your business or inside your community, inside the network that you're building. So be okay stopping what you would not start, which is a Jim Collins thing that he took away from Peter Drucker. Stop what you would not start. Eliminate those things that you wouldn't continue to keep doing, including the relationships that you have with people. So there was some elimination that took place. We also held the first Phoenix conference, our first in-person conference. And we got some feedback from some people that they would have liked to see things different. And we got some feedback from people around what they really liked. And ultimately, everybody who participated in that event, who did the work, achieved a goal or an objective that they had set out to achieve. Every one of them, at least based on my understanding of the objectives that they laid out and said that they wanted to accomplish. So some really exciting things that happen on that side. Jen and I are committed to continuing to build and grow the Leader Lab. We will continue to move it forward. That is what leadership is. Leadership is how we will move forward. And the Leader Lab will be a core part of what we do in 2025. And I'll share a little bit more about that in the next episode. But reflection, it is important to eliminate things, to stop what you would not start. And when you do, you will create space for you to grow and develop and build in the right place. And when you let other things go, they will create their own space to grow and develop in the way that makes sense for them. So stop what you would not start and be comfortable making decisions to eliminate the things that are not providing energy, not having high impact, aren't the right fit for you. Another lesson learned in 2024, another lesson learned was how short the time is that we all have together. Lost a couple of people this year, and that highlights to me the importance of taking advantage of all of the experiences and memories that you create, not necessarily the things. And we were fortunate enough to play a lot of golf this year as a family in a couple of different places. We played golf in Hawaii when we were out there for Thanksgiving. We played golf throughout the summer. And it's one of those sports that you can do as a family, especially if you play like scramble with the family. People can get engaged. Everybody can get engaged, have some fun. And a benefit of being able to do it is you get out in nature. You disconnect from everything that else that's out there, all the touristy stuff, all the noise, all the other things. So one of the lessons learned in 2024, at least reinforced to me, is highlighting the importance of time and how time is continuing to disappear on us. There is a finite end to it, and we need to be very careful and deliberate about where we choose to spend our time, the decisions that we make, and who we decide to hang out with, and what we decide to do, and where we decide to go. So another kind of key lesson learned and reinforced in 2024. Some things that didn't work in 2024. We've made this shift to focus on leadership, and we're still kind of working through it. Helping to find more clarity in the way that we communicate the message out there, the way that I communicate the message out, because I'm the face of Catalyst. We've got a couple of people that work inside Catalyst, including Jen, Patrick, Sean, a couple of folks that are part of the team, but I'm the face of it. And there's been this kind of struggle that I'm going through personally and deciding, do we keep the name brand? Do we keep Catalyst and talking about Catalyst, or do we shift it to Mike Simmons Consulting and have me be the primary there instead of the name that's out there? And I don't know. I don't know what the right thing to do is, but this is one of those things that I'm kind of reflecting on as we wrap up the year. And this is a little bit therapeutic for me. I'm sharing with the camera and sharing with you where my head is. It was 9 years ago yesterday. I believe it was 9 years ago yesterday that I gave my notice at Safari Books Online, an O'Reilly media company. And my business partner who started the business with me also gave his notice at the same time. And we gave a 30-day notice to carry us through both the sales kickoff and some of the other commitments that we had. And we wanted to leave our team in a better place than when we got there, your Boy Scout approach to keeping your campsite or having your campsite be in a better place. That required spending some additional time with the team over a 30-day period. So I gave notice. It was 9 years ago, yesterday or today, that I officially gave that notice. Knew that it was going to happen a little bit earlier than that. And since then, there are a lot of things that I've done in the business, mistakes that I've made in the business that if I could go back and redo again, I would absolutely redo those. One of them is sometimes the thing that is really clear inside my head does not get conveyed either to the microphone or to the camera. And one of the things I'm doing now is using the whiteboard as a way to kind of capture pieces of information so that there's a direct connection between me and the person on the other end, whether it's in person or it's in this environment. I believe, kind of like the shoe cobbler's kids, that I have not made it as simple to work with me as I suggest others make it to work with them. I have not communicated with a level of clarity like I expect, I recommend and suggest others communicate with. And this is one of the areas where it's become very difficult for me to come to grips with. And what do I mean by that? Well, I like to think that I communicate clearly, I communicate succinctly, I communicate with a level of intention and can help the conversation relate to others. The reality is sometimes I will talk in abstracts, and what I'm focused on is how do we help take the abstract and convert it into more concrete work. So mistakes over the course of the last couple of years, and mistakes even in 2024, were still being a bit too abstract, still being a bit too conceptual, and not helping people connect the dots between the abstract and the concrete so that next logical steps can be defined and they can actually be taken. So this is where you see things with like red marker up here on the whiteboard around next steps. If you're watching the video, there's an opportunity for me to continue to improve at communication. And from a celebration standpoint, I was very fortunate to be at Dale Dupree's Totality earlier this year. And one of the pieces of feedback that I got from people in the audience was awesome, including DeJuan Brown. It was awesome. You were very clear, very succinct. And what I started doing as we went through the year was speaking in more sound bites, wanting to have certain quotes attributed to me. A couple of those quotes are ones like execution through clarity plus focus, times doing the work until you simplify execution. A little bit of math there, but execution through clarity and focus and doing the work. If you're looking for leadership, start with a mirror. If you're looking for leadership, start with a mirror. Leadership starts with self. It's a Stoic philosophy. It's been out there for a long time. Rather than going out there looking for others to lead you or looking for others to solve the leadership problem, start first with self and then build out. And that's the area of focus that we have with Leader Lab and a couple of the other things that we're doing. Sales is a thinking process, which is what's trademarked. That's out there. And what that's helping with is being much more succinct in communication. So looking for leadership, ? Start with a mirror is one of the keynotes that I've put together in 2024. It's been really cool to see it come together and see the different pieces come together. And part of it is looking at the leadership challenge through the lens of mindset, an attitude and belief around leadership. Leadership starts with self. Leaders build leaders. That's a mindset. That's an attitude and belief. Then building out skill sets, problem solving, decision making, goal setting and execution, design, communication, 5 core skills. And then applying some tools around that to help you with leverage. So that's mindset, skill set, tool set. That's been another evolution of the business over the course of the last year as things have become more refined. Now, still in the business, the way that we make money is through the fractional revenue leadership work and the outsourced revenue work that I do with clients. That will still need to be a piece of the business as we go forward. It's one of those things where I would start it again, so I'm not eliminating it, but I'm starting to shift and address this leadership challenge in the context of helping build better leaders across the business, applying revenue frameworks, tools and thinking to help solve for that. So another one of the quotes for me is that revenue challenge inside your business is likely a culture challenge in disguise. Culture starts with leadership, and leadership starts with self. Another thing that I did in 2024 that I'm excited about is laid out some clear definitions around what 4 key words mean to me. Leadership, how we move forward. Culture, how we do what we do. Execution, how we achieve results. And revenue, how we fund the ability to do what we do. So leadership, culture, execution, and revenue. And you'll hear me say it in the context of leadership, culture, revenue, and execution, that revenue challenge inside your organization is likely a culture challenge in disguise, and culture starts with leadership. Leadership starts with self. And then we can build those skills out. So that's a kind of a long recap of 2024 mistakes made this year. Lack of clarity, lack of communication, the belief that people get what I'm talking about, or people are listening long enough to look out there and help me connect the dots between those who have problems that I can solve for and me. And ultimately, that dot connection needs to happen from me. I'm accountable to it. So you're going to see more direct outreach, and I'll share some of that as we go through into 2025. That's one of the things Sean is starting to get involved with. The belief that other people are paying attention to what you're doing was a mistake for me. And the belief that people get what you're saying, and the belief that you only need to say it once or twice and it will resonate. I'm going to be more consistent in the way that I communicate. I'm going to be more focused in the way that I communicate and we communicate as a business. And we're going to continue to test the shit out of things as we go out there. So here are a couple of tests that we've done pretty well and I'm excited about. Number one, we've grown the YouTube channel by 50% in the last year, just a little bit under 50%. We've added 92 subscribers in the last year. We're up to 301 as recording today. Tim Dick, thanks for being the 301st person to subscribe. We will continue to use YouTube as a way to help share the message and work through things and gain clarity and get more comfortable with video and all of those other things. We saw a 23% growth as of earlier today in the number of people following me on LinkedIn. So just north of 6,180 people following me on LinkedIn. My goal is to get to 10,000 here in 2025. I'll share a little bit more about 2025 goals in the next episode. So from a success perspective, the reach is continuing to improve. We've seen downloads of the podcast start to recover after some false starts in getting the podcast up and running again. we've seen website traffic start to increase. So those are some really exciting things to see from a growth perspective when it comes to the marketing and the work that we're doing out there. From the mistake perspective, we shared a couple of mistakes around clarity, opportunities for improvement around that. Wins, on the other side, growth that we're seeing both for Catalyst and the Leader Lab and the groups that we're part of, including clients. We've seen some growth on that side. That's an exciting thing to see happen. Those have been some really good wins. I'm starting to see more interest and energy around the speaking side of things. Had some really good success at a couple of events in this past year, leading breakout sessions. Using a tool like Talkadot has been really powerful to help keep track of people who are interested in seeing me speak, and also people who have provided some amazing feedback on what they took away. The thing that I'm looking to do on the speaking side of things is make sure that we solve for that 1% of people actually do something with what you share and help people put the work into practice immediately after the session. So accelerate that speed to impact, that time to impact, the time to action. As some of the things that I'm really excited about achieving over the course of the last bit. I've taken on a couple of coaching clients. It's really been good to hear the feedback there on the coaching side. My view is you should not fail alone. We do not need to fail alone. We do not need to feel like we're isolated in this area of operations that we're working in. There are so many consistencies in the work that we do, whether we're talking about business, how we make money, family, the people important to us or close to us, self, working on self. The common denominator there is still the wetware, the human being in the equation. And as long as the human being is involved in the equation, core fundamental skills applied at a professional level will help people move forward. We talked about what worked. We talked about what didn't work. And let's talk a little bit about where we're stuck. So one of the areas that we are stuck in is in growth on the Leader Lab. And we're trying to figure that out. Like, how do we become a catalyst for change in addressing this leadership challenge that exists in the marketplace? And if you have recommendations or ideas on how we can do better there, where we can clarify messaging, I could use some help. So please let me know directly. And you can always contact me at mike@findmycatalyst.com. That is my email address. It's the fastest way to get a hold of me from an email standpoint. Direct messages on Twitter and LinkedIn also work. And if you know me well enough, you have my cell phone number, and sending a text message is probably the best way to do something. Some of you we may be connected to in Slack channels, but we're struggling with that piece. Struggling with the messaging that helps with conversions, help draw the right people in and help them convert when I'm not in the room. So we're struggling with that. Another area that we're struggling with is in copywriting. So, how do we put the right copy on a piece of paper so that it connects and resonates with people? So if you've got a recommendation on how we can improve on copywriting, or you want to join the podcast to talk about copywriting, I am happy to have you on here. Ray Edwards has been on before. Donald Miller has been on before. We've had a number of different people come on before and share some thoughts and recommendations around copywriting. I am very interested in going a bit deeper into that as we move forward. I'd also like to hear from you. Where are you stuck? What are you struggling with? So a couple of calls to action. Share where you're stuck. Share what you're struggling with. Share what you can use some help with. And let me know if you're interested in coming on during a podcast to talk about things like copywriting and conversion, which is one of the areas that we're struggling with. That is my recap podcast for 2024. I am extremely excited about what we've accomplished in 2024. It has been a hard year. It has been a stressful year. Empty nesting. Costs have increased significantly as you have kids that are out in college and doing that kind of thing. We've gained a lot of clarity around where we're focusing time, energy, and attention. I've got significant energy associated with what we're doing on solving for things on the leadership side of things, the operation side, the revenue side of things, and the execution side of things. So really excited about that and where we're going. And I look forward to sharing with you next week, or here in a couple of days, next year, the areas that we're going to be focusing on in 2025. If you know somebody who would benefit from hearing this podcast, some of the reflection, some of the discussion, please share it with them. I'll leave you with a couple of questions to think about as you reflect on the year. What worked really well? What didn't work? Where are you stuck? This gets into some of that start, stop, continue. Think about things like, what do you want? Who can help you get what you want? And how might you reach out to them to get that help? And if you reflect on some of those questions, you will put yourself in a position where you'll identify next logical steps and start to take them. If I can help you, please let me know. Again, it's mike@findmycatalyst.com or through direct messages. Sales is a thinking process. Business is a thinking process. Life is a thinking process. How are you thinking different about your process? Happy